Do you know that most letting agents right now are actually only generating on average 11.9% profit? And that's actually the top 1,000 letting agents in the UK, according to the Plimsoll report. Now, I don't know about you, but this seems crazy that we go through all that hassle of looking after landlords, looking after tenants, all that liability, all that risk, all those long hours, those long days, just to get 11.9% profit. It doesn't seem like it's worth it to me. And let's remember, that's the top 1,000 letting agents. So the bottom 1,000 letting agents probably aren't even covering costs. In fact, I've actually met quite a few letting agents that are actually putting money into their business in order to actually stay in business. And that's just crazy, because then you're paying to stay in business, which is not why any of us decided to set up in business in the first place. But did you know there's some things you can do about it? Now, one of the things that I've been working with literally hundreds, if not thousands of letting agents over the last 12 years is around optimizing your letting agency. And there's some really big changes that you can make to help your letting agency start to add more revenue, first of all, and then add more profit, and ultimately for you to be able to take more as well. And that's ultimately what business is all about. It's about making sure that you create the life that you want for the people that work within your business, serving your customers and your community. I think you'd agree with that. And so there's three things I want to talk to you about in this video, which I've been working with literally thousands of agents in, helping them to make these changes to their business. And every single time, what we've found is it's one of three things. Now, by making these changes, we've helped agents add over £50 million in additional revenue so far. And it comes down to these three core things. Number one, learning how to market and generate leads automatically so that it happens 24/7 consistently for you. Number two, about making sure that you're focused on the revenue by looking at additional services, side sales, upsells, downsells, and profit. And number three, by valuing your time and your team's time and making sure that all of you are using it to the nth degree to make sure you're getting maximum opportunity from it. Why? Because what we sell as letting agents is, you guessed it, time. So let's dig down a little bit. Let's have a look at some of the things that we can do in letting agency to really start to make our business work for us. Let's talk about leads. Did you know 82% of landlords right now are not using letting agents for managed services? Now, that's according to the government's white paper that they released in July 2022. 82% are not using agents for managed services. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that is pretty crazy. I mean, how on earth have we got to this place? And as you know, as well as I know, that landlords, they believe they know everything and they don't need letting agents for managed services. But in my experience, most of the landlords I've spoken to actually couldn't name more than 7 pieces of legislation. And in fact, you as well as I know that there's over 170 pieces of legislation that landlords have to adhere to stay safe. And that means, of course, that they're falling foul of various pieces of legislation. We're talking about fines, prosecutions, banning orders, maybe even go to jail, all the potential consequences of getting things wrong now, because we are working within a very legislative environment and we need to make sure that we're keeping our landlords safe. And so we've got to find a way to bring landlords back to agency. And what's happened is since 2010, when we all stopped advertising in the newspaper and Yellow Pages and Yell.com and all those places, we've really diverted all of our ad spend and all of the money that we spend on marketing just to portals. And as a result, none of us really are doing a massive amount of marketing, so to speak, to generate leads. And I'm sorry, no matter what business you're in, and I run 5 different businesses in various different sectors, no matter what business you're in, whether you're a restaurant, whether you make bagels, whether you're a newspaper, whether you're a letting agent or whatever you are, you have to market your business. We have to do promotions. We have to advertise to attract leads to us. And unfortunately, since 2010, we haven't really been doing a lot of that in the letting agency space. And so many of us have forgotten how to market. We've forgotten how to generate leads. And of course, during that time, things have changed a little bit. You may have heard of AI, chat.gpt, social media advertising, marketing, stories, reels, TikToks, wherever it is. At the end of the day, there's been some major changes. And what that means is generally in the industry, we're actually quite out of date. Now, you may not know this, but over the last 10 years, I've actually been absolutely obsessed with marketing. In fact, I'm part of some of the highest level masterminds in the world when it comes to marketing, funnels, lead generation, social media marketing, etc. And I've personally been in the social media space now for over 12 years, talking about our topic here, which is lettings and marketing. And as a result of that, we've been working with many letting agents now, helping them create automatic lead generation systems in their business. And I just want to share a few things with you about how you can do that in your business too. Well, First of all, you've got to do something. Secondly, we're going to have to spend a little bit of money. And third, we have to do it differently to how we've done it before. Most letting agents are still working on void letters and leaflets and 2020s and referrals and word of mouth and recommendation. Well, of course, that's going to get you 3 and 4 leads a month. And portals, you might get 2 or 3 leads a month. I don't know, but I want to share with you how you can actually get 100 leads per week. And that's the difference. By actually getting involved in the modern marketing now and creating a lead generation system that's going to automatically drop leads into your inbox and drop leads into your database, you can generate 100 plus leads a month. In fact, if you wanted to, you could do 200 leads or 300 leads. It's up to you. You can turn it up by spending more on ad spend or turn it down by spending less. The choice is yours. The problem is, of course, you've got to deal with those leads. So what am I talking about? What I'm talking about is digital marketing. Now, we've been building funnels, which is basically lead generation systems for letting agencies now for over 7 years. And we have worked with literally hundreds of agents, building hundreds of funnels for different agents, for different client types, different lead gen funnels, and the results are phenomenal. And the key here is to make sure that every single individual marketing funnel that you build, every single lead generation system that you build is focused on one client type: landlord, vendor, investor landlord, retiring landlord, and have the whole message right from start to finish, from the actual ad, the message that goes out, to the actual landing page, to the actual offer that you're putting. It has to be congruent. So you've got to make sure the offer is congruent from start to finish. I see so many lead generation funnels like, we want more landlords. Are you looking to invest in property? Well, no, landlords aren't looking to invest in property. Some are actually wanting to get out. Or saying, are you a landlord? Are you looking to sell your property? Well, I know some are actually wanting to buy property. They're trying to market to everybody. And so we have to create different verticals, all right? Different verticals of marketing, one for investor landlords, one for retiring landlords, one for vendors. We have to create different verticals that are congruent from start to finish so that we're taking people down what we call a funnel, which is basically a lead generation automated system to drive those leads into your inbox. The other thing we've identified is that a lot of letting agents actually don't have a prospecting database, a CRM. They have their letting agency software, but they don't have a separate CRM to gather data, to collect information on landlords and to communicate with landlords as well. So that's something that's also very important. We know that with a couple of really good lead automation systems, or funnels as we call them, you can build a database of around 10,000 landlords in your area within about 18 months. So these are landlords that you know are interested in either buying or selling or whatever the case may be, depending on which vertical you've taken them down, which of course you can now talk to. So you can call them, invite them to a webinar, convert them into valuations, whatever you want to do. They're people that you can talk to and people that you can work with. Hugely, hugely valuable. Now, I just want to talk to you about cost of leads, because a lot of people say, oh yeah, but Sally, that's really expensive. Well, actually at the moment, we're generating leads all across the UK in various different areas, from city centres to rural areas, from anything between 91 pence per lead to around £3.50. Now, of course, £3.50, you could be a higher value lead than a 91 pence lead, but the choice is yours. What do you want? Really highly convertible leads that you know you're probably going to convert 1 in 3, 1 in 4? Or do you want one, just want to fill your database with people that you can prospect to? Well, the choice is yours. But how many landlords would you want at £3.50 a lead? And to be honest, what could you do with that? The choices are endless. So hey guys, I just wanted to cover that off. It's really important that we look at how we can build a lead generation system for our letting agency business. I think you'll agree, if we had that in place, then life would be a lot easier. Our listeners aren't going to say to us, I've got nobody to call, I don't know who to ring, the phone's not ringing. You're going to actually be able to say, you had 20 leads a day, get on that phone and convert those. You've actually got something to work with, which makes life interesting. Of course, with chat.gpt and AI arriving, the world is also going to get a little bit more different, and things are changing all of the time, and we want to embrace that in our businesses. We have to embrace that in our businesses, because whilst we're not embracing it, somebody else is. So I hope you found this useful. I just want to let you know about a workshop that we run. We actually do some training on this, because I think this is a whole new type of advertising, whole new type of marketing. I think it's important that you fully understand what we're talking about here. So I've actually created a little workshop called Business Growth Mastermind, and we actually cover all the different funnels that we use with the different avatars and the different verticals. I talk you through it and show you what you can do and how you can generate those leads in your business as well. I think you'll agree it's a pretty valuable day. It's certainly different to the old days of the adverts in the newspaper and the yellow pages and Yale.com. It's a totally different style of marketing. So if you fancy coming along on that, there's a link somewhere around this video. Just click on it, go and have a look. We normally sell tickets to this at £297, but right now you can get a ticket for just £97. It's delivered virtually, it's 9 till 5, it's one day. I promise you it'll be the most valuable day you ever spend. I'm doing this because I want to transform the industry. I want to start making some differences. I want to tell you about a couple of guys called Sat and Cam in London. They've run an amazing business, but they didn't always. I can remember talking to them about 4 or 5 years ago. We started working together. And they really embrace digital marketing, and you want to see their branding now. You want to check them out, Infinity Property. They are absolutely phenomenal when it comes to getting their name out there, digital marketing, using all the modern techniques. They are absolutely knocking it out of the park. So guys, this stuff can really transform your business. They went from 300 properties under management to over £1.4 million in turnover in just a few years by absolutely embracing social media marketing. So guys, there really is some value in this. If you want to join us on our one-day workshop, then just click the link. But I want to talk to you as well about optimization. And what I'm talking about here is how you can generate more revenue and how you can generate more profit in your business. One of the challenges that we see is that so many letting agents, they work long hours. That's really complicated. There's so much pieces of legislation. There's so much stuff to do. It's a business of minutiae, and we never ever get to the end. And this can be so frustrating for us as business owners, because that's not why we set up in business. We wanted time and freedom. That's usually the case. And it's also frustrating for our teams. If they see us all stressed out, that's not really very motivational for them, but it's also not very motivational for you. And so what we've got to try and do is we've got to go back to the basics and say, well, how can we build profit into this business when the average is 11.9%? Clearly, a lot of people are failing. Now, something you may not know, since around 2017, I've been on a mission to prove that we could get letting agency to operate at first of all 30% and then a 50% profit margin. Now, the good news for you guys is we've already done that. In 2021, we had our first letting agent get to 50% profit. We've now had dozens of people get to 30, 40, 50, and even 60% profit margins as a result of some changes that were made. And of course, this is work in progress. We're nowhere near having the whole industry at 50% yet, but we actually know what the model looks like. And here's some interesting facts for you. The average letting agency operates at a turnover of around £50,000 per staff member, but actually an optimised letting agency will operate at £100,000 turnover per staff member. And a super optimised letting agency will operate at £150,000 per staff member. So there's a few things there for you to think about and to assess whereabouts you are on that scale. Now, of course, it's really important that we start to embrace different ways of doing things. If you think about the traditional letting agency model, it's been the same for about 30 years. A couple of negs, lister, lettings manager, branch manager, a couple of tenancy managers, client account manager. A branch with, say, 500 properties under management would typically have around 12 staff. Just to give you an idea, I have a branch of a similar size and it operates with 6 staff, and their roles are very, very different. And so it's about how can we optimize, how can we turn our businesses around to be more efficient. Basically, how can we work less and earn more? And that's what we're talking about when it comes to optimizations. So it's really important that we understand what our hourly rate is, that we understand exactly what everyone in our team does, and that we understand what we need to charge for the time and the responsibility that we take by carrying out the tasks that we carry out as a letting agency business. And once you've broken all that down, we've got a really savvy formula. We break everything down that you do in the business. We work out how much it costs you, how much you need to charge it out at. And basically, if you put all that together, you've got a 50% profitability business. However, there are some changes that need to be made. You can't go from 12 staff to 6 staff without making any changes. And of course, things still need to be done. And so optimization is a really, really valuable tool. I don't care what business you're in, whether it's McDonald's or whether it's any of the big organizations or whether small organizations, efficiency is key and it can make a big difference to your profit margin. Did you know letting agents operate at around 50% of their revenue being staff costs? Actually, if you optimize, it's more like 25 to 30% of your total cost. So I'm just going to leave that one with you, because that's something that's really, really important, is to start to look at how you can streamline. Simplify to amplify is a great word I like to use, and how you can simplify the business, streamline the business, reduce your workload, increase revenue at the same time, add side sales, upsells, additional services. All these things will add revenue to your business. Now, again, this is something I'm going to be covering at that one-day workshop, the Business Growth Mastermind, which the link is around here somewhere. And I'm going to be showing you how you can do twice as much revenue with half as much workload. And I'm also going to be showing you how to work out how to calculate and build into your business that 50% profit margin. In fact, I'm going to show you the difference between what a 30% business model looks like and a 50% business model looks like. And I think you'll be really impressed with how that works. So it's going to be an amazing day. Normally $297, only £97 if you click on this link. And, hopefully you'll come along and join us. It's live with me, and I spend the whole day just basically going through everything with you so you have the full picture. But anyway, there's one more thing I want to talk to you about, and that is time. There's a great saying from a guy called Brian Linehan. He's one of my clients. He came to us about 18 months ago, and he was turning over around £300,000, been in the business 8 years, coming up to retirement age and not being able to see a way for him to retire. And that's pretty sad, because what do? Sell the business, give up, quit, start again, go get another job. The options are not very good. And so we worked with him on optimizing his business, squeezing the juice, as I like to call it. And over a 4-day boot camp when we worked together, he actually managed to add over £103,000 of additional revenue, which turned out to be straight profit, no additional work for that, to his business within just 6 weeks. £103,000, a very specific £103,000 within just 6 weeks, which is absolutely amazing. But what that led him to then, he was able then, because he's now got more profit in the business, he was then able to leverage that by actually buying an acquisition, which added another £1 million to his business. So now it's £1.4 million to his business. But then he was able, with his skills that he got from optimization and valuing his time, he was able to optimize the acquisition that he bought, which took him to 1.8. So you get the picture here, guys. How you go from 300 to 1.8 in 18 months is phenomenal. It can be done, but it's by understanding the mechanisms that we have as business owners, the levers that we have that we can pull. Number one, we can generate leads. Number two, we can optimize what we've got. Number three, we can acquire, we can grow, and then we can optimize that. It's a bit like buying property. You don't buy a posh one with white carpets and really fancy curtains. You buy one that smells of wee. That's what we say here in the Midlands anyway. It's probably different down the south coast. But you buy a smelly property, you basically do that property up, and then all of a sudden you've made a lot of money. And it's very similar with businesses. You can buy businesses that really aren't in a good state, and you can really do them up. So that's another way to really value your time. But time is essentially what we sell as letting agents. And when we go into business because we want to make money. We want to have choice of when we go on holiday. We want to be able to spend time with our family if that's what we want to do, or go on holiday. We want to be able to have that choice, that freedom to make that decision and do what we want. But how's that going? We find so many letting agents are trapped. They can't have a day off. When they go on holiday, they have to take their mobile phone and answer the phone, or they're having to answer the phone in the evenings. At weekends, they can't have a drink or relax. They're really not operating as they dreamed or hoped they would. And what happens is then we get despondent, we fall out of love with our business, and we start to think, really, why am I doing this? And that's not really where any of us want to be. So time has to be your priority. It's really important that we look at how every single person in our business spends their time, because you are paying for that time. Every hour a negotiator sits in that seat, you're paying for that. Every hour a tenancy manager sits in that seat, you're paying for that. Every hour an inspection clerk is driving around the streets, you're paying for that. So that is our commodity. If we were trading in gold, then great, it would be gold. But for us, it's time. So what expenditure do you have in your business on time, and what wastage do you have? If you can start to value time and recognize where your team's time is being wasted, and you can start to eradicate the favors, the freebies, the things that they're doing that they shouldn't be doing, the wastage time in between tasks, you can look at all of that. Trust me, you can save a lot of time. In my experience, most letting agents, and get ready for this number, most letting agents, when we go through this process, can save 50% of their time. Now that ties in very nicely with an optimized agency only having 6 staff as opposed to 12. Think about that for a second. So if you can optimize your time and you can squeeze time to basically mean that your team are more efficient, they're doing high value tasks, they're doing tasks that's generating revenue, that's giving value to the customer, and they're doing all those things that are working well, all of a sudden you can start to see how you can start to build that revenue and build that profit into your business, but also how your team can have a more happier, fulfilling environment to work in, and also you can have a more profitable, fun and appetizing business as well. Because at the end of the day, your time is actually the most valuable time in the business. Because let's be honest, who's the one person in your business that's going to add real value? Who's the one person in your business going to make those decisions to build a lead automation system, or to go and acquire another business, or to hire an A player, or to get out there and add an additional services, or build an affiliate army, or start to look at ways to add additional revenue, or add upsells or side sales or downsells, or do any of those things? Who is that person going to be? I can tell you it's not going to be your team, it's going to be you. But you can't do that if you're running around on the tools, if you're answering the phone, dealing with actions, responding to emails, chasing the team, sitting in their desk when they're not there. You have to manage and respect your time. In 32 years of agency, in the last 12 years, I have never even sat in an agency for a day, and I would never ever answer the phone. I would never deal with an email. Everything is done by my team. I have nothing to do with it. And that's the key place to get to eventually as a business owner, is to be a business owner, not a letting agent, because that's where you can add value. That's what Sat and Cam did. That's how they got to 1.4 million. They got themselves out of the business and they started to build the mechanism to increase the revenue and grow the business. That's how Brian went from 300 to 1.8, because he optimized, got himself out, and then he can focus on how he can grow the business. That's how I want to tell you about Matilda. If you want to talk about time, this is the legendary story of our community agent Rainmaker, Matilda. Now, when I first met Matilda in 2016, she was broken, absolutely broken. You can go and see her story on our YouTube channel. She's telling you herself. I'm not saying anything out of hand here. She was absolutely broken. She'd given up. She hated her work. She was hiding. She was having therapy. She just, a team were driving her mad. A business was driving her mad. Her customers were driving her mad. She just completely fell out of love with it. She got a young son. And the day her son called the nanny mom really just sort of put the nail in the coffin for Matilda, really, when it came to happiness about her business. As a result, we started to work together. We started to look at how she could remodel the business, how she could optimize it, how she could get her team working more effectively, so she could cut out the unnecessary tasks, she could control the customers so they were only getting the service they were paying for and paying for the service they were receiving. As a result of that, she added hundreds of thousands of pounds of revenue to her business. She managed to get 80% of her let-only clients transferred over to fully managed. She managed to build a team that took responsibility and accountability. But more importantly, the most important part of this story is she got herself out of the business. So much so, she's Polish, she built a retreat in Poland. And now, if you watch her social media, Matilda now, go and find her. She's dancing around in this retreat. She's got stressed out business people coming to go and stay with her to relax and recuperate, and she just comes back every month to London just to spend a few days in the office. So that is the ultimate story of getting your time back. It has to be. But you know what? There's varying degrees between here and between there. And we've got to identify what it is we want from our business. If we want to be in it, then great, be in it, but choose what you do. Make sure it's high value tasks. If you don't want to be in your business, then that's fine, but make sure there's other people doing what needs to be done in your business. You can't just abandon it. You have to make sure that everything is covered, everything is done. Just think about Richard Branson. He didn't learn to fly the planes when he bought an airline. He just got somebody in to run it. And we need to think like that. So time is valuable. And I know that by making these changes, you can turn your business into a mega business. Go from 300 to 1.8 in 18 months, to go from 300 to 1.4 in just a couple of years. You can see a massive change. We've had one lady add £4 million in revenue to her business in just 3 years by doing some of the stuff we're talking about. So guys, this is not best guess or good theory or read it from a book or been on a course. I've been a letting agent for over 32 years. In fact, I've been a franchisor. I've been president of Arla. I now run 5 businesses across various different sectors. So I've done this over and over and over and over again in multiple letting agency, franchisor businesses, training and coaching companies, internet marketing companies. In fact, I run an internet marketing company as well. And this stuff works no matter what business you're in. But I'm running this one-day business growth mastermind. I'd love you to come along for just £97. I'll spend a whole day going through this stuff with you. So I will talk to you about the lead generation. I will talk to you about the pounds per hour. I will talk to you about how to optimize and squeeze the juice out of your business. I will talk to you about how to add value. I will talk to you how to get your time and get yourself out of that business. I'll talk to you how to recruit A players. I will show you the whole lot. Why? I am on a mission to get the letting agency industry to 50% profitability. And I would like to start with you. So hey, click on the link somewhere around this video, hop over, go and have a look at our one-day business growth mastermind. I hope you can join us. It'd be absolutely fabulous to have you. And either way, I hope this video has been useful to you. My name is Sally Lawson. I run Agent Rainmaker. We are on a mission to transform the letting agency industry, and I want to start with you. Thank you.